Stagnation, welcome back to the channel. BlackRock seems to be interested in buying a lot of Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, they seem to be on a race for Bitcoin.
Accumulation.
From purchasing Bitcoin to buying out Bitcoin mining companies. But how did we get here? First, I'd like to actually take a rewind. Let's go back in history. Double O, if you can share the screen here. Okay. This article which I'm sharing with you here is actually from May 2026. That is this year. Oh, no, sorry. Earlier in 2021.
Yeah.
Right? So that's maybe like a year ago or a year and a half, somewhere there.
Yeah.
And in this article, it says Bitcoin ESG concerns might slow down institutional adoption for now. If you were in Bitcoin 22, you saw Larry, what's the other guy? Bald guy. It's Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
He was out there talking about Bitcoiners need to accept regulations. So, but
so that the big guys like BlackRock can come in.
Well, we know who that guy is now. We know what his mission was. But here's the thing. In this article, right, we see that it says, for now, right, the trend of adoption has run headlong into another front of mind considering for big investor, environmental, societal, and governance factors known as ESG. This is what was stopping Bitcoin adoption at the time, apparently. And so Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, the largest money manager with $9 trillion of investor assets, wrote earlier in their annual shareholder letter that the sustainability premium for investments with better ESG profiles. I don't know who wrote this article, but it's shaky. But anyhow, the whole point is they were saying that, they cannot invest in Bitcoin because it is not good for the environment, right? It's not ESG friendly. But today, we find ourselves in a place where BlackRock, the same company, nothing has changed about Bitcoin.
Absolutely nothing.
Right? It's now adding Bitcoin to the 15. So it says here, the American investment firm BlackRock has added Bitcoin to its 15 trillion global allocation fund. With this move, BlackRock can scoop up all Bitcoin on exchanges with just 0.32% of the assets under management. I find that quite interesting. Furthermore, we see that these guys are also bailing out bankrupt Bitcoin mining companies. Core Scientific with a $17 million loan. What are your thoughts?
Man, it's just so much to cover on this topic, guys.
Yeah. Again,
folks, self-education is critical. If you're just out there watching CBDC, I don't know.
CBDC. Okay. That's one way to call them. It's fine.
That is hilarious.
They might as well call themselves that.
MSNBC, all these other financial news channels, you will be bankrupt, literally. So ESG was the biggest noise in 2020, 2021. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Tesla, Elon Musk was like, okay, I'm going to hold back on Bitcoin because of this old ESG news. Again, thanks to the World Economic Forum for that major fraud.
Right.
Again, about self-education, there's the book out there about being one of the greatest investors and how to be a great investor. And it teaches you about how the markets work. Somebody has to sell for them to buy. They have a lot of money to buy, a lot of fake money to buy. Let's just call it that if you start understanding money more. Right. So they own the media channels. So they print this fraud out there because they want to control the narrative. Right. So they chase you out of the market while they are actually buying. So you are busy selling at a loss while they are buying to eventually get in. So we read this in 2021, May 2021. Same time, they already had invested $75 million or more in what's the Core Scientific, a mining company.
Well, BlackRock previously held $37.9 million of the miners' secured convertible notes. Somehow they still went bankrupt. I think they probably went bankrupt because of some other transactions they were doing with other entities in the space. And all the shady activity that was going on there.
And Core Scientific is literally the biggest mining company. So you're like, folks, that was another fraud in 2021 about that. Bitcoin is centralized because of these major miners. But if you were really centralized, how do you go bankrupt and Bitcoin still holds its value throughout all of that?
There is just rampant intellectual dishonesty going on within these institutions right now. It is no wonder why there is no trust in the institutional, I guess, in most institutions these days, from media to government and so on and so forth.
It's just so corrupt.
I think it is, one of the points of why we're doing this is because it is important for all of us to start understanding that it seems that the people who are supposed to be trusted cannot be trusted. And so we have to do our own research and make our decisions accordingly. Traditional financial systems are the same people who have always said Bitcoin is a risk to the economy. We know it's a risk to the banks for sure because they're going to be taken out. But if it's so much of a risk, how do you explain all these purchases at this point? I don't know about you, but this is extremely bullish for Bitcoin. And I've had this had this conversation with people on Twitter and so on and so forth before, where they say it's centralized. Bitcoin is centralized because of the mining is being done by a few amount of people. It's a tricky one because I don't think you can ever convince Ethereum heads, but it's not the case, obviously. The decentralization itself is something that they have to read more and more about. So, hey, either way it goes, we can see now that this is very bullish for Bitcoin, and it'll be interesting to see what this does for the price action of it over the next couple months. But more importantly, what does this mean? Because when you take these steps, you cannot come back. I think one thing I've noticed over time, anyone who understood what Bitcoin is and decided to start doing shady things, turning their back against Bitcoin is the way I'll put it, have ended up beaten. So we'll see how this one goes. Final thoughts, Double O.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something there that I would like to add to the final thoughts here. Mr. Wonderful said that we needed regulations for the big money like BlackRock to get into the system. Guess what? The regulations are not here yet. And these guys are already throwing multi-million while at the same time throwing fraud. It's your job as a citizen of the world to understand and educate. I guess that's why you're probably watching this channel. We want you to keep watching us because that's basically what we do. We question things, we research, and we try to give you the feedback. The feedback that you should learn from this video is that they've lied to you, but they are at the same time investing in this technology. What should you be doing? That's a question. That's not a financial advice really, but BlackRock is heavily invested in Bitcoin, and that is a fact. ESG was just a tool.
ESG is bullshit. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
That's basically it.
Okay. Well, follow us on our centralized platforms. If you can pull up the yes. Twitter, STAKK. Nobody's on Facebook, but out of respect for our parents, we still have Facebook up there.
They need to learn as well.
Our handle on YouTube, of course, is STAKK. I don't know why at some point Google decided to mess with our stuff because now it says STAKK Crypto, but it's okay because now when Maxis come at us, I have some energy to argue with you just because we use the word crypto. Instagram and of course Spotify, STAKK and STAKK. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We hope you find some value in this video. Brazen out.
Double O.